Alright, let's go for a ride on this thing and I will tell you why I bought it last year. Hey guys, Night Cruiser MA. So here is why I bought this beautiful 2017 Victory Magnum X1, even though Polaris had pulled the plug on Victory. So, number one was the fact that this was one of 3 bucket list bikes that I had. I had the Victory Vision, the Victory Cross Country, and the Victory Octane were 3 bucket list bikes that I just always wanted to own. And when Polaris announced they were pulling the plug, I felt like it was the time to get them. I could only afford 2. I couldn't obviously get all 3. I'm actually surprised I could afford 2. Well, my credit union was surprised that I could afford 2. And so, you know, basically, once they pulled the plug, I said, I'm not going to have an opportunity to get these later, at least not brand new, so I might as well go ahead and do it. And normally that would be a strange thing to do. It would be odd to go ahead and buy a bike. Could you really? You have to like pull over to the right to make a left-hand turn? Weird. Anyway, that would be normally an odd thing to do, but it just so happens that I live very close to the largest Victory dealer in the world, which is Mom South in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And Mom South is just like, you know, Victory is committed to parts and service on these bikes for 10 years, and Mom South is actually committed to keeping Victory going and buying Victories and selling Victories for as long as they can, as well as servicing them. So that really had an influence on my decision. So that was really cool. I mean, here was a bike that was extremely unique. The Magnum X1 in this beautiful pearlescent sort of color is just remarkable. With the silver metallic and the red piping and all that. It's just a beautiful bike. And the lines are just so different. They're just so unusual and they're original. And you just don't see them on other bikes. It is purely Victory, and it's just awesome. From the fairing back to the saddlebags, it just is truly an awesome looking bike. So the scarcity of these going forward, the fact that I could get them serviced, and the fact that I absolutely fell in love with it, really helped me along. And then I did the review on the Victory Magnum. It wasn't an X1, but it was a custom painted Victory Magnum. And when I did that Let's Ride of it, I found, okay, the suspension's kind of harsh, but man, was I comfortable in that riding position. I mean, everything just worked out really well. I like a feet forward and arms forward kind of position, and that's what this had, and it was really, really fantastic for me. So I really enjoyed riding that Victory Magnum, and that was really cool. So in the end, I ended up actually, the day that video came out, I decided to email Mom South and say, hey, you know what, how much would that be if I wanted to buy that bike? And they said it just sold. Of course, you know, I'd love to take credit for my video having helped to sell it, but I don't think that was really the case. So I couldn't get that one. And then I saw this X1. They had a couple of these X1s that were in this white pearlescent color here with the silver and the red, and oh my gosh, I just was like, I don't really go for white bikes, but that is just amazing. I mean, this thing looked absolutely incredible. So ended up working out a good deal. I feel like Mom South has great pricing. They certainly give me fantastic pricing, being a fairly common customer. A fairly repeat customer. And so we worked out a deal, and I put a lot of stuff in here. I put in some, I mean, I had Mom South do it, obviously, but cams and an air box and a power commander and slip-ons and you name it. As well as a lot of stuff that is just kind of decorative in nature. I mean, these mirrors, I love the look of those with this bike. These grips, these Ness deep cut grips, put on the Ness deep cut heel and heel, no, deep cut shift arms, as well as deep cut brake arms. So I wanted to say heel shifter, but I don't have one of those on this bike. Put on this V-Stream windshield, a lot of stuff that was put on here. The Lord's timing system is in here, and it just makes for a really nice motorcycle. Hey, these houses are kind of new. I don't think they were here last year. I am not certain. Yeah, maybe they were. So anyway, so all of that combined, I mean, I just wanted to take this bike, stick it in my living room, and just stare at it. Just the lines of it. Remember, I'm not really a conformist when it comes to motorcycles, or I guess with most things. And, you know, like, I guess that's why I kind of stick with Victory and Indian a lot, because whenever I look at a Harley, I just feel like it's part of the Me Too crowd. Now, let me clarify that. I think I've said this before. If you bought your Harley because you rode one and you were like, this is the bike for me, it's just a great fit for me, and it sounds great, and it feels great, and it's comfortable, and I like the seat, I like the riding position, I like everything, then, my goodness, I'm so glad for you. Go ahead and buy your Harley and enjoy it and be proud. And I think that most people do that, but there is a set of people that literally just says, well, I buy a Harley because it's a Harley, you know, and it's the only American-made bike, which now it isn't, of course, with Victory and Indian, and blah, 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 blah. So that's, you know, all my buddies have Harleys, and that's what I got. Well, if you're doing it that way, then I'm not as big a fan of your decision. You know, you got to get out and try other stuff. I mean, I've ridden Harleys, and I've ridden Yamahas, and I've ridden Suzukis, and I've ridden Kawasaki's. I've ridden a lot of different bikes. Sure, why don't you go? Okay. And I've really determined what I like about each bike and what I don't like. So anyway, I just love this bike. I thought it was a fantastic machine that just created so much originality, and really have enjoyed owning it. So that is the reason why I got this bike. It's also, I think, a bike that does extremely well out on the highway. Maybe not so much the wind management, but just the fact that this bike is happy at higher RPMs. So, for example, I'm in third here. On an Indian, I might be in fourth. But this bike doesn't have too much going on under 3,000 RPM. So let me get out on the highway, and or at least a kind of like a highway, and I'll show you what I mean. The bike does very well at higher RPMs. All right, let's go see here what we're talking about with the higher RPM here, which, you know, I could do if it weren't for red lights. Well, that stunk. That wasn't what I was going for at all. All right, let me just hop over here. Hopefully this camera angle's okay. I changed it to a wider view. I felt like the other one was a little bit too cramped. There we go. So again, once you're over 3,000 RPM, then things get a little bit better for you. And it's really kind of nice. Very enjoyable. You just try to avoid the bumps, just because the suspension isn't ideal for handling things like bumps. But yeah, once you know kind of how to ride this, it is a much more fun experience. And so that's basically the... I just got shorter there, sorry. There was not supposed to be a vocal utterance there, but it just kind of came out as I got about 3 inches shorter. So So anyway, but those are the reasons that I bought it. I mean, that's basically it. It was the scarcity of it. It was the fact that I had service and parts for 10 years right nearby. It was just the absolute beauty of it, in my opinion, and just the originality and the uniqueness of this bike. The performance and appearance upgrades that I had done to it, I think really set it apart from the crowd. So all of that just went into me saying, you know what, I got to get it now. I got to get it sooner than later so they're still around and I can get a brand new one, even if I just stare at it in my living room for 10 years. You know, I mean, it's that beautiful. So anyway, guys, that is my reasoning. I hope you enjoyed my little trek here, as always, and I will talk to you later. Take care.